speaking. I help people who want to get up on stages and get out there and speak and tell the dreams of their life by putting passion with purpose. And I'm really excited to be with you here tonight, and we'll be hearing more about me. So I hope you guys will all like our conversation tonight. And, you know, by being here at the end, if you'll share your email with me, I have a great gift that I want to give to everyone here, and a special gift for someone lucky. So stay tuned.
Okay, thank you so much. And my name is Joan Wakeland, and I'm the director for GSFE in Riverside and in Hemet. I've been with GSFE right at its inception. I am committed to do the work of empowering people, inspiring people, motivating people, and expanding GFSE. GSFE is just a wonderful organization of women that help women. And one of the good things that I like about it, prior to GSFE formation, I was with a group called NAFI. And the leader of the pack was Robbie Motter. I admired what Robbie did because I am a loner in California, and I was looking for a group of women, because when you work for corporate America, it's great. Everybody thinks that they're accepted and you have friends. But when you retire, when you leave that group, then you'll find out that the relationships that you had were just strictly business. So it was wonderful to find a group of women who would look out for each other, not only to do business, but to create a friendship. And if there's one of us that's down, we're weak, we're down. Like tonight, I know that I personally wasn't feeling great up to this, but guess what? Having just being here and seeing all you guys, it looks like I've got a little bit more energy, because I didn't think I would be able to come on tonight. I have been aching, but not anymore. I look at you guys and you give me the energy that I need to get up and do the work. We ask you that you pray for our Chief Director, Executive Director, Angel Kade. She fell and she actually had a little damage to her knee. So we ask that you pray for her, that she doesn't have the pain that goes along with these falls. Tonight, I would like to introduce to you, if you have not already met her, Rosalyn Kahn. Rosalyn Kahn is a college professor and a public speaking instructor at Los Angeles City College. She's also an author, international motivational speaker, and speech coach. She is noted as a coach who helps others master their message with passion and purpose. Ms. Kahn has been an educator for the last 20 years, teaching public speaking, English as a second language in colleges and high schools throughout Southern California. She's also a TEDx speaker. Rosalyn has trained thousands of students and worked with individuals from teens to business executives to improve their presentation skills and their earnings. Her gift is helping individuals achieve their goal by speaking with their authentic voice. Last year, she was awarded Woman of the Year and recognized by Assemblyman Adrian Nazarian. Los Angeles Tribune ran a cover story on her as a businesswoman. She was recently recognized as a nominee for Los Angeles Business Journal. In November, she will be awarded the Kindness Award by the Global Society of Female Executives. Rosalyn has also launched a television network with IGTV called Community of Unity. In this talk, she will examine the tremendous stress we have encountered with the advent of technology, the pandemic, and mandated stay home. She will also provide simple answers for immediate results. So tonight, we'll take the time to listen to Professor Rosalyn Kahn. Thank you, Rosalie.
Oh, thank you so much, and I really appreciate it. And I'm going to go ahead and share the screen.
And I wanted to let you know, Rosalyn, the recording is on. And also I've changed the host back to you.
Terrific. Okay, so here we are tonight, and I'm going to talk to you about a topic that's very near and dear to my heart here. We're going to talk about reducing stress and anxiety during this global pandemic. And first off, I want to go ahead and share some startling statistics that really concern me deeply. And did you know that the state unemployment is higher than ever before, hitting levels that have never seen since the Depression? That today there are 1 of every 5 people who don't know where their next meal is coming from, and every 40 seconds, a person goes ahead and commits suicide. There's a plethora of people who are now being evicted from their home because they're unemployed, and it takes just 30 days for those same people to suffer from the ills of PTSD. A good friend of mine is named Ken Unger, and he wrote a book called Healing is a Broken Heart, and he works with opioid addicted drug-free people. And he said 50% of pastors' wives are on medications for depression. He shared with me this image to the left, and I want to begin with this. This right here is Hecate, the queen of witches. She's the pharmakia, which is the ancient Greek sorcery, witchcraft, and drug administration fostered by worshiping idols. Pharmacology, the drug administered, fostered by worshiping modern technology. In one hand, she has a skull of the devil, and on this risque picture, on the center of her neck is the symbols of RX, which now, today, represents the American drugs that we all use. And it's really horrible that she was associated with the crossroads, the entranceways, the light magic, the witchcraft, knowledge of herbs and poisonous plants, ghosts, neuromancy, and sorcery. And that's today the idol that we all look up to. And on the other side are roses. Because what we really need to heal this planet is the love that each and every one of us in this room here tonight share with one another. So let us go ahead and begin. When we go ahead and look at this, there was a recent article that was written in the Newsweek magazine, and it said that the mental health toll from the coronavirus could rival the disease itself. This past weekend, the World Health Organization had a whole day that they were focusing on what is happening in our nation in response to the coronavirus. And it is death defying that every 40 seconds a person goes ahead and commits suicide. There was a quote here by Tom Insel, who was the national director of the Institute of Mental Health. He has seen the impact of 9/11, Katrina, the mass shootings that ravaged 3 states, and he said none of these compare to what we are seeing right now due to the coronavirus. And he said part of the reason that we're seeing these horrible atrocities is the fact that people are locked in their home, not by choice, but because they're demanded to be in their choice. There's thousands of people each and every day that are unemployed. A lot of people don't know when they're going back to work, whether they have a job, whether they don't have a job. The EDD is just filled with problems. And most importantly, what we used to do is hang out with our loved ones and our families. Many people don't even know whether they're going to have Thanksgiving, what they're going to do for Christmas, and even if they can see their loved ones. And you add to the top of that, every day you turn the newspaper and there's more and more bad news that's with us each and every day. And when we look at some of the examples of what we're looking at as signs of what depression looks like, depression can be defined by the fact that 7% of the population will experience some depression in some part of their life. And they say that depression is, it's not just feeling sad, But they said if you feel any of these feelings for over 2 weeks, you should call an authority. And I will give you phone numbers that you can go ahead and call and reach out to. And some of the factors that we see are changes in sleep, changes in appetite, lack of concentration, loss of energy, lack of interest in activities, hopelessness, guilty thoughts, changes in movement, physical aches and pains. And, these are horrible things. And, we've gone ahead and we've talked about the problems, but I want to let you know the number of people who are committing suicide is death defying. My friend and colleague Ken Unger, in this time of the pandemic, has saved 4 people's lives. In my role of a teacher in academia, I have also probably saved 3 or 4 lives. And you might ask, how is that? Well, every day I ask my students how they're doing. And when they aren't doing so well, I take it in part of my interest to find ways and connect them to the people that have actually turned and saved their life. And it bothers me so much that people can't pick up the phone. They can't reach out and talk to someone because that conversation could be the difference of life versus death. And when we go ahead and we look at some of the information that's been out there, in that Newsweek article, they said when you go back and you look at Hurricane Katrina, in 60 to 90 days after that incident went ahead and occurred, people had acute incidences of feeling of uncertainty. But when they finally adjusted, it became a normal part of their life, they went to suicide. And they turn to drugs, and they turn to alcohol and a battery and abuse. And so many of these people are living at home with their abusers. It's atrocious. When you go back and we look at past histories and we look at the lessons that we can learn from previous major disasters that we've experienced here in the United States, you go back to SARS in the year of 2003, 30% of the people at that time committed suicide. And these were people who were 65 and older in Hong Kong. And 50% of the people there remained anxious. That was just then. Imagine what's going on and what's happening in our world here today. When we go ahead and we look at 3 months later, there was a report that was done in the Sentinel. And a lot of the research says we won't know for years what will go ahead and happen. But there were projections about the people who would be committing suicide as the result of this. And when you look to Arizona, it was the icing on the cake, not a happy cake, the cake that's served at a funeral for the loss of loved ones. And they found that 17.59% had an increase in drug overdose from March until July of that year. And they do this special mapping, which is called the Overdose Detection Mapping Application. And when they compared the results from Illinois and Washington and several other states, they had the same number of people who were committing suicide. And then they had the report that came from San Diego. In San Diego, they had a laboratory, the Millennium Health thing, and they found in 500,000 urine tests, there was an increase in usage of fentanyl, methamphetamine, cocaine, and heroin. And drugs are not the answer. There are things that each and every one of you sitting on this call can absolutely do. And so I want to share with you some numbers here, and I want you to write them down and put them in your phone right now. The National Suicide Prevention Hotline is 1-800-273-8255. And if you put that in your phone, you never know when you might meet a person who needs help. Don't wait to call them when you're on the edge of things. If you're feeling down, there are people 24/7 who can go ahead and help you. A good colleague of mine, her name was Kat Sullivan. She and I were part of a TED Talk. And she said in a talk that she gave, what's happening right now are a lot of people are experiencing grief. It's not about themselves, but I bet you if we asked, every person in this group knows someone who's no longer here because of the coronavirus that's taken their life. And when you ask those questions, She said, there's an important thing that all of us need to do. And she said, in this grief model, she said to everybody, there are experiences that we experience each and every day of our life. And if we could take a moment out to say, this is real. You know, I lost a good friend of mine. Her name is Janet Kahn, lost her father. And if you could have heard the crying she had on the phone when she was talking about her mother, and she didn't know what was going to happen because her father was dying. And I've never heard this person in this way. She brought these people into her home, and the coronavirus was shared with her. Her father, she had a young child. And this was a woman who does more than anybody in the world. And this is just one person. They didn't need to die. And yet the tragedy that has gone on in so many families. And you hear people who go ahead and commit suicide because they didn't think there was someone to talk to. There was a gentleman in this World Health Organization who gave a talk about how he was in and out of institutions, and one day he got to the point that he was on a bridge and he was about to jump. And the stranger came up to him and started talking to him and convinced him not to take his life. And he said there are things that all of us can do, and having conversations with people and talking to them and hearing about what it is they have to say. In the educational system I work at LA City College, and they put out this information to help people. And one of the things they said is, as my friend said, to be comfortable with these times that you feel uncertain, that it's okay to cry at the loss of people's life. It's okay to be sad because this is what keeps us human and what keeps us real. But they also said at the same time that in your organizations, you should have town hall meetings and let people know what's going on and what's happening. That you should have an outreach of places that they can go and talk to people. And they said the power of gratitude and, you know, meditation and kindness are all things that can help one another. In addition to that, there was a lady from the city of Ventura. In the city of Ventura, September was National Suicide Prevention Month. And their Center for Disease Control said that their suicide rates have been rising every state in California. 4,491 people died by suicide in 2018, including 94 people in Ventura. And that reflects a total of 84,137 years of potential life lost before the age of 65. And here's the worst part of all. There was somebody out here talking about children, talking about her kids and her child's birthday. Do you know the number one area that's increasing is we're talking about kids 10 to 24-year-olds taking their life because they don't think there's anything to live for. Young women are the biggest people who are at threat in today's world. And the in this hospital, they said that we're reminded of these daily challenges such as the job loss, increased depression, isolation,
Wanna go outside?
due to uncertainty, fear, economic challenges, food insecurity, childcare needs, social challenges, and the fact that our religious institutions are closed. That we can't go to church, we can't go to spas, we can't go to parks, and you know, some areas they're opening, some areas they're closing, and it's further exasperated what we're seeing on suicide. And they've come up with a training program that's helps them partner out with the silent academic, that they're looking at results and warning signs, people being out of character, behavior risk, factors for suicidal, and a social media campaign. They have a 1-800 number I'd like to share with you. It's a suicide prevention hotline. And another number you can put in your phone is 1-800 273-8255. And on the next slide, my colleague I talked to, Ken Unger, is a person who's worked with a lot of opioid people. And he said when he was at a national drug conference, he went ahead and asked the question, why is it that we're only ranked as the 35th in this nation for going ahead and dealing with our people? And the person said, no, we're ranked in 56 because all the drug people want to do is they want to medicate you. And when they medicate you, they don't solve your problems. People are going ahead and committing suicide who have an addiction to opioid. And he said, when you go ahead and look at what they do to treat people with opioid, there's no program that he can refer to me. Absolutely none at all. He says, because what people need to do is they need therapy, to talk and listen to a person who understands where they're coming from. He wrote, Heal Your Pain Without Opioids. Don't just treat your pain. He's talking about treating the symptoms. In this time of the pandemic, he saved 4 people's lives. And drugs are not the answer. He's known as the American Soul Doctor. And on one of the quotes that he had is, life is not a playground, but a school whose greatest lesson is learning to love. And that's one of the things I heard over and over again. The beauty of this organization, what Global Society of Female Executives do, it's an organization that cares for one another, that Joan herself said, you know, I felt really down, but I came here today. When she told me that Angela Codd had been in an accident, I stopped what I was doing, forgot about my speech, took the food that was out of my refrigerator and delivered fresh food from my food to her home. And she said to me, Rosalyn, that's why I've awarded you the Kindness Award, because it's things like this that you do. But everybody in this call could simply do things for one another. I have 2 seniors, and in my busy schedule, I take time out to reach out to them, to make sure they're okay, and to make sure they're all right. And imagine what every one of us could do. There's another friend of mine, and she's with the director of mental health. And she gave us 4 things, and they're 4 simple things that you could do and write down in your notes. She said, time with God. I don't ask you to believe in a particular God. Whichever God that you believe in, take time and speak to God. In one of the books I read, it said that you can sit here in the state of California and pray for a person who's on the East Coast, and with the power of prayer, we can heal that person. She said, be selective about what you take on, like saying no to things that will unnecessarily add to your load. If you can't do things, say no. I had a friend of mine told me, go get a jar. In that jar, get red beads and white beads. And for every time that you say no to people, go ahead and put another one of those beads, or put one of those reds in for every time that you go ahead and say no. That we got to take care of ourselves. She also said, avoid procrastination. Take the time to put the priorities on the top of your list and stop procrastinating. Worrying about something you need to do takes energy. Procrastinating undesirable tasks take more effort than just doing them. And, you know, there's a book I'm reading by Gary Kelly, and it's The One Thing. There was a book that was on the movie City Slickers, and there's this scene where the city guy goes ahead and says to the guy, what's the most important thing in your life? And he said, just one thing. Make one thing that you do each and every day. That's your priority. And you could do that. If you could please mute yourself, I'd really appreciate it. And there's common knowledge says it takes 30 days to go ahead and change a behavior. And with those 30 days, you can certainly do things for the better. And I'd like to move from what the experts say to what people say is the necessary work that every one of us can do in our lives individually. And it begins with how I protected myself in my life, called Healthy Eating That Feeds the Soul. And this is my journey that I recommend to each of you of simple things that you can do to help you in your life. On here are pictures of roses. I love to cook. And one of the things that have saved my soul is spending time in the kitchen and sharing it with other people. Robbie Motter can attest to the great cookies that I made. and shared with her on her birthday. And there was research that was done in CNN on March 30, and it said there's a rationale that people have more time and less control. You know, we've got more time in our hand, but we keep ourselves busier than busier than busier than busier. And the CNN went ahead and said that cooking has exploded beyond what people are used to. The top cooking links are the coronavirus cooking, baking crazy, and cooking creativity. And you can simply put that on the post of the pictures of the things that you make. The American Society for Nutrition said there are 3 benefits that we can all gain from cooking. Imagine our mothers didn't teach us wrong, but said that there were things that we could do that could heal our soul. They said it goes ahead, it reduces stress, anxiety, and depression. Number 2, it gives you certainty, a sense of control. If I mix this up and I put it in the oven, there's something beautiful that will come out on the other side, and I can complete a task. I know if I put this in the oven, I wait an hour, at the end of it, I'm gonna have something that makes myself feel better about who I am and what I do. And to create a routine, there are simple things that we can do in our life to create a routine for our life. How I begin each and every day is I took a thing from Tony Robbins, and it's not on the slide, but I begin every day with my celery. I take my celery, I put it in my food processor, and I go ahead and I make a drink in that celery that I have each and every day, which is followed by my apple cider and vinegar. Have that apple cider and vinegar every day, just a tablespoon. And then I go to my green drink, then my green drink. And this is my green drink with all the vegetables I get from the farmer's market. The next thing on my plate is to have fresh fruit. You want to save your life, save your brain? Eat blueberries. Eat food that's the color of the rainbow. And you can do so many immaculate things to change your life. The best thing you can eat is watermelon. Watermelon is low calorie. It's a great snack that is really healthy for you. It can heal your thirst, and it takes care of so many different diseases. There's a lady whose name is Jay Cyber, and she gives a talk on pH health, and she said blueberries are the simplest thing you can do. Walnuts, eat beans. And here's some real life practices I've gone ahead and done. Create a shopping list. You ever know that you spend more money when you go to the store when you're hungry? Create a list. Buy staples. Always have potatoes, have onions, have apples, have pears. Have certain things that you can take a list. And you know, my husband picked up some food the other day, and it was meat with some red sauce. Well, with the meat and the red sauce, I took some grains. I took some rice and I put it, and it was great. And then I went ahead and I made tamales with the other part. I had some low-fat cheese that didn't have cholesterol in it. And so I've got tamales, and I got 2 meals out of this basic staples. And the most important thing we control is our mind. There's a saying, what goes in goes out. What if you got up each and every day and you told yourself you loved yourself? I listened to a lady whose name was Tina Kaysen, and in one of the talks, she went ahead and said that she got up each and every day and she wrote out 15 things that she was grateful for. Well, thanks to Tina, I do that. And then there's a coach I got from Lori Rupp, and Lori has accountability partners. And my partner was going ahead and giving a speech. Her name is Candace May Graver. And Candace May said, don't only write a list of your 15 things at the beginning of the day, but at the end of your day, write what you've accomplished. When you feel beat up and you feel you can't do anything else, go outside, smell the flowers, write down what you've accomplished, because we're doing so many more things in our life than we've ever imagined. And here's one of the falafel sandwiches that I made. Simple thing, had it in the cupboard, took some of those basics, and this is what I came up with. I have onion soup here. This is the easiest thing. If you want any of these recipes, reach out to me. I would be more than happy to share them with you. This is homemade pasta, and this is pasta in another dish. And you got to feed the mind. They say one of the most important things is don't begin the day reading the newspaper. My husband asks me every day, what's new in the world? And I say, well, would you like to know the books I've read? Would you like to know the things I've done? Because I start my day with meditation. I start my day with exercising. You may not know this. When I was 15, I had scoliosis, and I have a rod in my back. And I thought the worst was when I was in high school and I entered in a body cast. What I suffer today is I now have scoliosis in my back and I have bone spurs. And if I don't get up and move, there's pain. And I'd encourage all of you to get up and walk. And then I spend some time reading those books that changed my heart and changed my soul. I have 170 different posts on Facebook that you can look at that talk about how to feed the soul. And I wish to God that some of those people that followed me on Facebook were here today and they could be hearing this speech. There was a gentleman who's a rabbi and visits people in jails, and he was going to be on this call, and I'm going to send this to them. I go out and I take care of the roses. My neighbor said it's okay if I trim her roses. And roses are known to be one of the things that calm the heart and calm the mind. If you sit there and you feel the petal of a rose, it's just like a baby's face. And it's the most expensive thing that you can get when you get someone who sells natural vitamins and natural oils. The most expensive thing that you can get. And so I want to finish with, this is my list of recommended reading. And if you simply get any of these books, they will change your life. The Meditation for Women Who Do Too Much, every day, there's a story that goes ahead and gives such meaning that I'm posting regularly on my posts. There's this beautiful book that's called Grace, Guidance, and Gifts. And the magic of this book is it was given to me by one of my students who I taught English as a second language. And when I got the book, I said, a religious book, what do I need that book for? And what I've come to see in this time, it doesn't matter what religion we are in. Each and everybody could have their own religion. But when I read this book and I open up a random page, that page is the message that God wanted me to read that day. It's the message that God wanted me to read. And there's a book, it doesn't matter how much money we have, but there's a book that's called A Pocket Full of Money. And he says the best thing that we can do is to create a dream board. So I told my students when they were in the pandemic and they had a week off and they didn't know what was going on, go out and create a dream board of what you're going to do with your public speaking in your life. We could all create dream boards. We could all put on it posters and pictures of where we want to be and what we want to do. And A Pocket Full of Money can help many people around the world. I've written 2 books. One of them is called Random Acts of Kindness Are Changing the World. And if you feel down and depressed, do something nice for someone else. I wrote this other book many years ago. It was called Dogs and Roses, How to Reduce Stress in Society in Today's Troubled Times, written 3 years ago. And it has pictures of dogs and pictures of roses. And last but not least, one of my friends I knew, Jesse Morris, referred me to a friend. He said, you can call this person on Saturday night. And I called this lady and she gave me this list, and it's 100 ways to practice for improved wellness. And on this list are 15 things. And I want to make this list of 100 available to everyone on this call. So if you're on this call today, please put in the chat, what is your email address? And I want to make sure that you have this list, that you have things that you can do to make yourself feel better. It could be going for a walk, dark chocolate, pampering yourself with the home spa. You know, there's a simple thing I'd love to tell you. You get out a pan of boiling water, and the next time you have a congested head, get that pan of boiling water, put in it cayenne pepper, put in it ginger, put in it garlic. You put a towel around your head and inhale those fumes, and you will open up your face and the blockage that you have, and it feels wonderful. Start each day writing in your journal. Snuggle with a pet. You spend 15 minutes stroking your pet, and it'll make yourself feel better. Take a yoga class and FaceTime, Zoom, or invite your friends. Stretch your body. Book a short break. Put time in your calendar, 10 minutes. My greatest friend, Fred Orsinger, said, take 10 minutes where you stop and you do absolutely nothing at all. Simply nothing at all. We are such busy beavers. Do something totally new. There are all sorts of universities right now that are going ahead and offering classes online. My good dear friend Robbie Motter left me with this quote. And she said, in this time of global pandemic, there are more business entrepreneurs that have used this time to write a book, to launch their career, to start a business anew. It's not necessarily a time of gloom and doom, but all of us know there's someone in this world that needs that call, that needs that inspiration that we can do to help save people's lives. And so I want to end this word with gratitude. Everyone in this world knows someone who could use a phone call. And if you take one thing that I've said in this thing is reach out and call someone. Make it a habit to spend each week reaching out to your family. Maybe there's a senior, maybe there's a kid that you can adopt. In my busy time, I don't know how, but I'm now with an organization that calls Angels Cares. We're helping young kids with the things that they need for their schools. I have a deep love for pets. I love animals. I love humankind. And I love each and every one of you because you chose tonight, amongst all the things that you could do, was to come out and hear how we could beat our stress. And ladies and gentlemen, that is my talk. And I want to offer a gift to all of you. And my gift is the following. At the end of every meeting, Robbie Motter goes ahead and picks a number. And to someone in this group, I want to offer you a choice of one of four things. And these are four things that mean near and dear to my heart. And one of the things I've done during the pandemic is I've begun creating these beautiful arrangements of flowers. And if you want a beautiful arrangement of flowers and I can decorate some event for you, it's my gift to you. If you'd like some of the potpourri collection, I'll give you one of the potpourris I've gone ahead and created. If there's a picture that I've taken that's anywhere that I've shown you that you want a copy of, I will make it and I'll give to you. If there's some food that I've talked about that you would like to have, I will see what I can do to make some baked goods and send you my favorite recipe, which is toffee that is super, super simple. And so I'm going to turn it back to the host so they can pick who that winner is. And from the bottom of my heart, gratitude beyond words, namaste. And thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you.